Consider what it feels like when your Social Security payment lands in your account each month. You know exactly which day it comes. You have already made plans around it. Your landlord is expecting rent. Your pharmacy is holding your prescription. Your refrigerator needs restocking. That deposit is not spending money or a bonus. It is your paycheck. It is the foundation your daily life is built on. Now picture this. That morning arrives. You reach for your phone and open your banking app. But what you see on the screen is not the number you were counting on, not anything close to it. The amount is cut in half. No letter of warning, no phone call from anyone, no follow up notice of any kind. Just half of your monthly income. Simply not there. You immediately assume something has gone wrong at the bank. You call them. A representative confirms the deposit arrived from Social Security exactly as it was submitted. So you dial Social Security. You sit on hold for close to 40 minutes. And when someone finally picks up, they tell you an overpayment notice was mailed to your address 30 days ago. Because no response was received, the automatic 50% withholding has gone into effect. The notice, the one sitting under a stack of other papers on your counter, the one that looked like another piece of routine government mail, the one you set aside because you were under the weather that day and told yourself you would get to it soon. That notice began a 30-day countdown the moment it was mailed. And while you were waiting to feel ready, that countdown reached zero. I am Miyu. I am a senior policy analyst, and I have spent many years working directly alongside retirees, helping them decode the regulations that govern their benefits. Regulations that carry real consequences, that are actively enforced, and that the overwhelming majority of people only come to fully understand after something has already gone wrong. My purpose today is to make certain you are not among that group. I am going to explain clearly what an SSA overpayment notice actually is, why federal law gives the government the authority to reduce your monthly payment by 50% when you do not respond within the required period, and exactly what legal options are available to you the moment one of these notices reaches your mailbox. Please stay with me all the way to the end of this video. There is a specific misconception, one that feels entirely reasonable and logical on the surface, that leads seniors to take exactly the wrong approach when one of these notices arrives. And that single misconception ends up costing them months of reduced income. I want to show you what that misconception is and why it is so easy to fall into. Let me introduce you to Carol. Carol is 74 years old and lives in Arizona. She dedicated 38 years of her life to nursing before retiring at 65. Her monthly Social Security retirement payment comes to $2,020. She keeps a modest savings account, but that Social Security check is what her life runs on. She tracks every dollar carefully. She stays organized. She is simply not someone who lets important correspondence sit unopened. During the summer of 2025, a letter from the Social Security Administration arrived at Carol's home. The letter explained that because of a discrepancy in her reported income from a few years earlier, SSA had concluded that she had been overpaid by $4,600. The notice laid out four possible courses of action: pay back the full amount, formally appeal the determination, submit a waiver request, or apply for a lower monthly repayment rate. It stated clearly that she had 30 days to choose one. Carol read the letter and felt a surge of indignation. She had not made any error. She had provided accurate information. The income data SSA was questioning had been properly reported. She was fully convinced that the agency had gotten it wrong, and her reasoning followed naturally from that belief. If SSA made the mistake, why should she be the one to act? They would look at it again, realize the error, and fix it without any input from her. She did not appeal. She did not call. She did not fill out any form. She simply waited for SSA to discover and correct what she was certain was their own miscalculation. 30 days went by. The next month, Carol checked her account and found $1,010 where $2,020 should have been. She was in shock. She called SSA that same day. The representative confirmed, since no response had been submitted within the 30-day period, the automatic 50% monthly withholding had activated and would remain in place until the entire $4,600 balance was cleared. What made the situation even harder to accept was the next thing, the representative said. Carol could still file an appeal or a waiver at this stage. but the withholding would stay active throughout the review period, unless she met specific conditions that qualified her for a pause. Carol spent 4 months getting by on half her usual income while SSA reviewed her case. The review ultimately did result in a reduction of the overpayment amount. Carol had been right that SSA had made a partial error, but those 4 months of reduced payments were gone permanently. No adjustment was made to compensate for them. Being right was not enough. That is the lesson Carol learned the hard way. The system does not search for its own mistakes and reverse them on your behalf. You have to initiate the process. You have to file the right form. You have to act within the window given to you. Do not find yourself in the situation Carol found herself in. Let me take you through the verified facts now. Every piece of information below is drawn directly from SSA.gov and official SSA policy documentation. No guessing, no embellishment. Fact 1, what an overpayment is and why SSA must pursue it. According to SSA.gov, an overpayment is defined as a situation in which Social Security paid someone a greater amount than they were eligible to receive. SSA explains that overpayments can result from shifts in your income level, changes to your employment status, changes in your living arrangement, changes in marital status, or the presence of inaccurate or incomplete information in your file. SSA has stated publicly in its own official guidance that the agency is legally required to recover funds or adjust payments when overpayments are identified. This is not a matter of discretion. It is a statutory obligation the agency cannot choose to waive unilaterally. This obligation holds regardless of who is responsible for the error. Even if you reported every piece of information correctly and the overpayment happened entirely because of an SSA mistake, the agency is still legally bound to seek recovery. The only mechanism that can change that outcome is the official process, submitting the appropriate form within the required time frame. Fact 2, the 30-day window and the 50% withholding threshold. Per SSA.gov's current published guidance, SSA will allow a minimum of 30 days to pass after mailing an overpayment notice before initiating any collection action. That 30-day period is your protected window to respond. If you do not repay the balance, file an appeal, submit a waiver, or request a lower recovery rate within that window, SSA will automatically begin deducting 50% from your monthly Social Security benefit every month until the full overpayment amount is recovered. That is 50% every single month, without any further notice being required beforehand. It is important to understand that this 50% rate applies specifically to regular Social Security benefits, retirement benefits, survivor benefits, family benefits, and SSDI. If you receive SSI, Supplemental Security Income, the rules are different. SSA's guidance specifies that SSI overpayments are recovered at a rate of 10% of the monthly payment, not 50%. It matters significantly which program you are enrolled in. If you are not certain, find out before you do anything else. Fact 3, the 4 options SSA provides, and what each one is designed for. A widespread misconception among seniors is that an overpayment notice leaves them with only 1 or 2 ways to respond. SSA actually offers 4 distinct options. None of them are interchangeable. Each one is intended for a specific circumstance. The first option is direct repayment. If you accept that an overpayment occurred and you are financially able to repay it, SSA allows you to submit payment online, through the mail, or in person at a local office. If you cannot repay the full amount at once, SSA can also arrange an installment plan. The second option is a formal appeal, submitted on Form SSA 561, Request for Reconsideration. This is the appropriate route if you genuinely believe SSA's determination is wrong, either that the overpayment did not happen or that the amount being claimed is too high. Filing this form puts SSA's conclusion under formal review. You have up to 60 days from the date of the notice to submit this appeal. The third option is a waiver, submitted on Form SSA 632BK, Request for Waiver of Overpayment Recovery. This is the right choice if you are not contesting whether an overpayment took place, but you believe the error was not your fault and that requiring you to repay it would create genuine financial hardship or be unjust given your circumstances. An approved waiver eliminates the debt entirely. The fourth option is a request for a lower recovery rate, submitted on Form SSA 634, Request for Change in Overpayment Recovery Rate. Use this when you acknowledge the debt but cannot sustain a 50% monthly reduction in your benefit. SSA can approve a reduced withholding amount that your budget can actually accommodate. Carol's situation called for an appeal. She disputed the amount SSA claimed. Many seniors who do not question the existence of an overpayment but face real hardship are better served by a waiver. Understanding the distinction before you file is essential to getting the outcome you need. Fact 4. The collection pause. Provision that most seniors never hear about. This is the fact that can completely change your situation, provided you learn it before your 30-day window closes. Per SSA.gov, if you submit a waiver request or file an appeal within 30 days of the overpayment notice, SSA will not move forward with collection while your submission is under review. Your full monthly payment continues without interruption. The 50% withholding is held in suspension. SSA works through your case and issues a determination. And only at that point, if your request is not approved, does collection begin. SSA's own form documentation confirms this explicitly. SSA halts overpayment recovery until a decision on the submitted request has been made. Acting within those 30 days does more than give you a chance at a favorable outcome. It also shields your income throughout the entire review period, which can take weeks or even months. Once those 30 days pass without any action on your part, the pause provision is gone. At that stage, you are no longer in a position to prevent the withholding from starting. You are trying to reverse something already underway. That is a measurably harder and more stressful position to be in. Fact 5. What happens when you are no longer an active recipient? This section carries particular relevance for people who have stopped receiving Social Security payments and for family members who assist someone whose health is uncertain. Per SSA.gov, if you are no longer receiving Social Security and SSA later identifies an overpayment from when you were an active recipient, that debt remains valid and collectible. The agency has the legal authority to recover what is owed by withholding your federal income tax refund, intercepting state-level payments you are owed, or garnishing earnings from current employment. And there is one additional fact that families should hear directly and clearly. Per SSA.gov, if a person passes away before an overpayment on their record has been fully recovered, SSA may pursue the outstanding balance from individuals who receive benefits tied to that person's account. This could include a surviving spouse drawing survivor benefits or a dependent who relies on family benefits connected to the deceased. These individuals played no part in the original overpayment, but the financial impact can still reach them. Please consider sharing this video with adult children or other family members who are involved in managing a loved one's benefits. This is not a risk that affects only the individual who received the notice. It is a risk that can touch the entire family. 3 steps. Take a moment to write these down as we go through them. Step 1. Open every SSA envelope the day it arrives and treat it as urgent. The most costly decision you can make in an overpayment situation is choosing to handle the letter at some point in the future instead of right now. Starting today, make it a firm habit. Any envelope from the Social Security Administration gets opened on the day it arrives. Not at the end of the week, not after you rest. The same day. Read the letter fully from beginning to end. If it turns out to be an overpayment notice, identify 2 things right away: the dollar amount SSA says you owe and the date printed on the letter. Count exactly 30 days forward from that date. That is your response deadline. Mark it visibly. Circle it on a calendar, add an alert to your phone, write it on a note, and put it where you will see it every morning. Then involve someone you trust. Let a family member know the deadline exists. A second person tracking the date is an extra layer of protection. If the language in the letter is confusing or leaves you uncertain, do not let that uncertainty be a reason to delay. Call SSA at 1-800-792-TWIX13 right away. Representatives are available Monday through Friday. You can also go to a local Social Security office in person and ask a staff member to walk through the notice with you before you decide on your next step. Fully understanding what SSA is claiming should come before you decide what to file. Do not submit any form until you are clear on what you are responding to. Step 2, identify the form that fits your situation and submit it within 30 days. Once you have a clear picture of what SSA is claiming and how you stand in relation to that claim, take the action that applies to your circumstances. If you accept that an overpayment occurred and you are able to pay it back, reach out to SSA about repayment options or ask about setting up a payment plan. If you believe SSA has the facts wrong, either that the overpayment did not happen or that the amount is overstated, file Form SSA 561, the request for reconsideration. This formally challenges SSA's determination. While you technically have up to 60 days from the notice date to file this form, submitting within 30 days triggers the collection pause immediately. If you are not disputing the overpayment but believe that repaying it would cause you real hardship, or that doing so would be unreasonable given your situation. File Form SSA 632BK, the request for waiver of overpayment recovery. This is the only path available that could result in the debt being forgiven entirely. If you agree you owe the balance but cannot manage losing 50% of your monthly payment, file Form SSA 634, the request for change in overpayment recovery rate. This reduces the monthly deduction to something sustainable. Every one of these forms is available at no cost at ssa.gov. You can also request printed copies at any Social Security office. Filing within 30 days activates the pause. Once that window has passed, the pause is no longer available, and the consequences of inaction take over. Step 3. Create a documented record of every step and verify your submission was received. After you submit any form to SSA, your work is not finished. Before anything goes in the mail, make a complete copy of the form you're sending. Mail it using certified mail and request a return receipt. The signed delivery card that comes back to you is formal documentation of the exact date SSA received your submission. And that date is critical if any question ever arises about whether you acted within the required window. Log every call you make to SSA. Write down the date, the time, the name or ID of the person you spoke with, and a brief description of what was discussed. These notes become part of the record of your case. 2 weeks after submitting your form, call SSA to verify that your request has been received and entered into their system. Do not assume that mailing the form means the process is moving forward on its own. Confirm it directly and log that confirmation call as well. This documentation habit requires very little time, but provides protection that can be the deciding factor between a case that resolves in your favor and one that drags on for months because of a missing record or disputed date. Allow me to close this segment with one final thought. Carol had every right that you have right now. She had options available to her. She had time remaining when the notice arrived. She chose to wait for the system to fix itself, and it did not. You are in a better position than Carol was because you now know what she did not know before her 30-day window closed. Act on that knowledge. I want to share one more thing with you before we finish today, and I want to be direct about it. YouTube is not a reliable way to stay current on your government benefits. The platform operates on an algorithm that determines what reaches your screen and when. When SSA updates a policy, when a Medicare enrollment window opens, when a pension regulation changes, the video that covers that development may not surface in your recommendations for days or weeks afterward. By that point, a deadline may have already passed. When a 30-day response window is part of the picture, that kind of delay is not something you can afford. That is precisely the gap the Global Senior Alerts Official WhatsApp channel was created to fill. When you join through the link provided in the video description, benefit alerts are delivered directly to your phone without any algorithm filtering them. You receive real-time information about changes to Social Security rules, Medicare coverage updates, pension regulatory shifts, bank policy changes, insurance premium and deadline alerts, and travel regulation updates relevant to seniors. And every person who joins right now has the opportunity to download our Senior Benefits Protection Guide at no cost. This guide is written in plain, accessible language and addresses overpayment rights in detail, Medicare plan termination protections, rules specific to SSI recipients, and a great deal more. Print a copy for yourself, keep it alongside your other critical documents. Give a copy to your adult children or anyone who helps manage your benefits. The link is waiting for you in the description below this video. Click it today, join the channel, and get your copy of the guide. And if this video gave you information you genuinely did not have before, please pass it along to at least one person you know who is living on Social Security. There may be someone in your life right now with an unopened envelope sitting on their kitchen counter with no idea that a 30-day clock is already running. Sharing this video might be what gives them the chance to act in time. I am Miyu. Thank you for watching today. Please take good care of yourself and stay protected.